Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. All praise and glory to the mighty Most High, our Creator, who is one. He is the supreme, self-existing, eternal Spirit of truth, the living God, and there is none beside him, to the left, to the right, and none that sit on the right hand of authority. If you believe any of that garbage, you are living an illusion. You are living in a delusion. It's 8:16 in the morning. I'm trying to get this out before I go to work. Maybe I just sent a message to my boss that I really didn't want to work today, because this stuff here means more to me than work. It truly does. Worshiping the Creator today is the most important thing that exists in my life, and I don't want to be distracted by work. I'm very fortunate. All praise and glory to the mighty Most High. For him, the glory all be to everything. Money is only a means to survive. And I just don't stress out on it anymore. It doesn't mean anything to me. Salvation is the only thing that means anything to me today. Okay? So I have been putting this off because I have been working. And, when I work on a roof for the day, I don't have anything in me to come home and do any lessons. So this has been up on the board for about 3 days now, and I haven't got around to it. So I'm jumping on it this morning before I go to work. All praise, all glory goes to our Creator, who's one God. Blessings be to the children that serve one God. All children who serve the Creator, one God, may blessings be upon you. On the first day, chapter Exodus 19, on the first day of the third month after the Israelites are Israel, because they are considered the elites. However, what we have are three different gods right here within the name Israel. You have Isis, you have the sun god Ra, and then you have El, which I guess you'd say is the supreme. I don't call El or even Elohim the Creator. I believe that Elohim is mankind. Mankind's created on the sixth day, adds up to 666. Mankind's number is 666. The number of the man who is a beast that is 666 is Jesus Christ, crucified. And that's what I teach. I bust this whole creation story open because of a priest that taught me that what I learned by hearing, that there's two creations that were going on. And I never understood that, because we're taught on this plane of existence that all that exists is one human race. We're not one human race. You got a race of beasts that were created on the sixth day of creation, and then you have another man that was created from the dust of the earth, and he had the breath of life breathed on him. And him, the second man, Adam and Eve, were created, and they were created of the living. And that's what's important to understand. Everything that's born into this plane of existence through the bloodline of Adam and Eve are of the living. They have the spirit on them. They're spiritual beings. This is what it means in Ephesians 6:12 when it says it's not about the flesh and blood. It's about the rulers, the principalities. It's about the evil that fights in heavenly places, heavenly realms. The heavenly realm is right here, in your head. So the Israelites are the elites, left Egypt. On that very day, they came to the desert of Sinai. After they set out from Rephidim, they entered the desert of Sinai, and Israel camped there in the desert in front of the mountain. Then Moses went up to God. Now Moses just went up to God. Okay? So Moses went up to God. How did Moses go up to God? There's only one person that I know of that's written in the Bible. I think it's in Corinthians that says, I don't know whether out of body or in spirit, but I know a man 14 years ago who ascended to the third heaven. Okay? So unless Moses here is ascending to heaven, how is then Moses went up to God? Like, hey God, what's up, man? Just chatting it out. How you feel today? Also, this God here is the Elohims, which is plural. God in the Bible has many different meanings. It has Elohim. It has El. It has it's a magistrate. It has also all of these here are 430 in the Strongs. And what's peculiar about this is that lowercase gods is the same number as capitalized God. It's the same number. This is how they've created multiple gods for you. Okay? The Supreme Creator, it's His worship. Okay? You worship Him alone. You don't place anything next to the Creator. So, I don't know how Moses, and what's going to be fascinating about this is you're going to start seeing craziness take place in these stories and the contradictions. Okay? More and more contradictions are going to start coming into the story, and I'm going to point them out to you. I mean, I've been pointing them out to you the entire time. If you've been watching these series that I'm doing, then you can clearly see that I point out a lot of the contradictions that are taking place. So then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to your descendants of Jacob." Jacob is the one who wrestled with God. How do you wrestle with God? It also says Jacob is the one that wrestled with man. And it also says that Jacob wrestled with the angel. Okay? And we all know that angels is 32 angelos. Okay? And an angel is a priest. So these are metaphors, folks. The Spirit of God is in command of everything, and He uses our host bodies for His glory. It's that simple. Our host bodies for His glory. The descendants of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You yourself have seen what I have did to Egypt, and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations, out of all nations, you will be my treasured possessions. What? Here, again, the Israelites are God's treasured possessions. The nations are the Gentile nations. And there's many, many names here for the Gentile nations. Okay? Then out of all the nations you will be my treasured possessions. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. please pay attention to the way I spell holy. Okay? With a W, a double L, a holy nation, because God is everything you see and He's everything that you cannot see. It's the world that you can't see that makes up this visual world that we can see. And that's what's so freaking mind-blowing about it. It is mind-blowing once you realize that none of this really exists. It's all an illusion. It's all a matrix. You live inside of a box. You don't even know it. A game. We live in a program. And we're playing for our souls. Okay? Movies like Tron are telling you that we live in a box. It's all a game. The holy nations, I spell it with a W because the Creator is wholeness. He is wholesome. He is the totality of all that exists. Without the Creator, the supreme self-existing eternal one, nothing would exist. It's that simple. Anybody trying to place gods beside the Creator, the supreme self-existing eternal one that says don't do it, are going to burn in the fire, okay? There are no feminine spirits next to the Creator, okay? It doesn't take a male and female spirit to create humanity. Though someone out there is saying, let us is what it is, that there's a male and female spirit. No, the Spirit of God created all that exists. Remember back in Exodus 12, folks, what did God say? I will make this a distinction between Israel and Egypt. Why do you suppose that the Creator said that? That there's a distinction between Israel and Egypt? Because the nations are Egypt. The nations are the Gentile. And the distinction that the Lord is making between the Gentile is that He is going to make this difference, this differential between the two races. The race war isn't about black and white. That's what Satan wants you to think. Okay? There's both good of both black and white people. Okay? The white man created, and Ezekiel plainly tells us that Satan is a white man. But just because Satan is a white man doesn't mean that all white people are completely evil. Now, I was evil as shit. I was dirty and vile and have sin and iniquity on my back. But when God ripped the scales from my eyes, they've been bleeding for 3.5 years, man. I can never stop repenting. Once the scales come off your eyes and you see your shame, that's knowing the Lord, and that's fearing the Lord, because you realize He created this flesh, He created this plane of existence, and that there is a place of condemnation that you will pay for your trials and your errors. And mostly, you'll remain there forever. And the biggest thing that's going to keep you in that hellfire forever is your idol worship of that man, Jesus Christ, that died on the cross. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. So Moses went back to and summoned the elders of the people and set before them all the words of the Lord had commanded him to speak. The people all responded together, "We will do all the Lord has said." Lie. Okay? You guys aren't doing all that the Lord says. This is your problem. You're disobedient, man, to the Creator. You truly are. It says 2/3 of God's children will die because of lack of knowledge. Okay? To me, 2/3 is just a rounded off number, man. That again is 66.6 unlimited threes. 3. So you have 66 0.6333 or 66.3 in continuing one third going on, which we all know that 3 is the number for the pit. And this, at least at this channel, we know. So Moses brought their answers back to the Lord. Okay? Now, I'm not into Lord worship. I'm not into it, folks. But so when I speak of the Lord, I speak of the self-existing, eternal creator. This is the key. This is the one that I worship. The self-existing, eternal creator. The one with no beginning, the one with no end, the one that's been perpetual. He's always existed. He's always been here. This is what is so mind-blowing to me now today, is knowing that the creator has always existed, which makes it absolutely crazy for anybody to think that humanity has only been here for 6,000 years. No, that's what Satan wants you to believe, that humanity has only been here for 6,000 years. They've sold you this shit show lie about evolution. And the fact is, if you understood that if the creator is an eternal being, it's possible that creation within itself has always been eternal. And how would any of us ever really know? Okay, especially when you got people that are in power that are doing nothing but lying to you about everything. They're straight up lying to you about everything. So how would any of us know? I think that the Gentile have been here for hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, plundering this earth, killing one another, destroying one another, all of that. And then the Creator created another creation, and he puts his spirit on this one. Now, there's a parable, Romans 2:12, that says when the Gentiles sin, they will be destroyed, even though they never had God's written law. And the Jews that do have God's written law will be destroyed by that law when they fail to obey it. And Rap the News taught that those that are of the Gentile race never had the law. I don't know that we never had the law. I think that the law was on the fallen angels' minds already. And when the angels fell away from God, they knew what was good and evil. They knew that by falling away from God, that they were doing an evil act, that they were rebelling against the Creator. Okay? So if it's us that are the fallen angels, then we knew what was good and evil. We didn't have a book because it was already on our tablets. Okay? But they became rebellious to God and wanted for themselves the worship. Don't we want the worship? Didn't Satan want everybody to worship him? Well, don't Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and rock stars and porn stars and generals who wear stars, don't they all want to be on television in front of you telling you what to do and how to act, and the World Health Organization and all of that? Give me a second. So that was my buddy telling me that I didn't have to work if I didn't want to. He had other things that he could go ahead and take care of. So yeah, I've been on that roof all week, man. I'm telling you, I'm beat. My legs are shot. My feet are blistered. From walking on an angle. I mean, I used to do it when I was a kid, man, and have no problems with roofing. But you know, I'm 60 years old now, so. The Lord is the self-existing eternal creator, the spirit of truth, the living God. The Lord said to Moses, I'm going to come to you in a dense cloud. I mean, folks, of all the things to come in, a dense cloud, a rain cloud that followed you, or a fiery cloud. Remember that God in the New Testament equals a magistrate. Right? And a magistrate has the word magi in it. And magi are sorcerers. Huh. I know you don't ever hear that stuff, man, because I'm telling you, I've been looking at our language, the English language, in a far different manner than anybody else sees our language today. So, if you take that and you put straight, straight in front of the magi, and you change the letters around, you have straight magic. Those people that are in control and power are phantoms, they're an illusion, they're straight magic. They're magic men, they're magi. So the cloud, I think, well, the Lord's, it's so mind-blowing, man. The Spirit, the Creator, says that you can't see Him. You just can't lay your eyes on the Creator in flesh. No one can lay their eyes on the Creator in flesh. He plainly tells you, on the day that you lay your eyes upon me, you will be dead no more. So how are any of you going to rapture with Christ, Jesus, and see Jesus coming in the clouds when the Creator Himself always came in a dense cloud where you couldn't see Him? So that the people will hear me speaking to you and will always put their trust in you. Hold on. Why is the Creator saying their trust in Moses? Shouldn't that be trust in God? Trust in me. I think that should say. Now they're putting Moses as a mediator between Israel and the Creator. And the Creator's telling us over and over, man, put no mediators between me and you. Now the Creator's going to tell you, trust in Moses, when it's supposed to be the Creator, the one that brought him out of Egypt and brought him out of slavery and bondage. It wasn't Moses that brought him out, unless in this case here, Moses' spirit. Moses is a spiritual man. He's not flesh and blood, but a conduit, a messenger as God. Trust in you, which is really saying, will trust in me. By trusting in Moses, whose spirit, who brought him out of Israel, you can trust in the Creator because He uses Moses. Praise God, all praise and glory to the mighty Most High. Then Moses told the Lord what the people had said. Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. Have them wash their clothes and be ready by the third day, because on that day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. Put limits for the people around the mountain and tell them, whoever touches the mountain shall be put to death. They are to be stoned or shot with arrows. Not a hand is to be laid upon them. Harsh, man. Woo! Don't go up on that mountain. No person or animal will be permitted to live. So, animal too, just an animal strain that, has no knowledge of what mankind's laws are. An animal, so there's no animals at all that are living on Mount Sinai. So if I went to that plane of existence and took a drone and flew it all over Mount Sinai and everything, I wouldn't find any animals there, because if you did something like that and you found animals there, then the whole story's bullshit, right? Because I just don't see how you could keep, unless people are out there slaughtering anything that comes out there on that plane on that thing. It's not the Lord, the Spirit, the self-existing eternal one that's killing animals. He created them for us. It's that man on the sixth day that was thought to himself, oh, that was given dominion over all of the fish in the sea and the birds in the air and the cattle of the land and everything that creeps upon the face of the earth. That's the one. See, he took dominion over all the animals. God gave him dominion for us to love the animals. He didn't give us dominion to destroy their lives. Okay. Not a hand is to be laid on them. No person or animal will be permitted to live. Only when the ram's horn sounds a long blast may they approach the mountain. The ram, you always have Ra. After Moses had gone down the mountain to the people, he consecrated them, and they washed their clothes. Then after Moses had gone down the mountain to the people, he consecrated. Then he said to the people, prepare yourselves for the third day. Abstain from sexual relations. So don't be dogs. Don't be animals. Don't be pigs. God has set boundaries about the time that you can lay down and make love, okay? Not immoral sex. My biggest fallacy for most 51 years of my life, or I should say, 35 years of my life anyways, immoral sex, multiple partners, fornications, all of that. Okay. So you're not to have sexual relations on a particular day. On the morning of the third day there was thunder and lightning. Lightning. Thunder. Angels. Hey, lightning. What is the lightning? Electricity. Because this plane of existence is centropy. This plane of existence is the electrification of the materialized world. We are magnetic beings. We are creatures. Our skin suits have metals in them. I mean, I don't know how the Creator works, but we are magnetically sealed to this plane of existence. And when the spirit or soul that's trapped inside of the body is released, it has a resting place. Okay, there's three things that are going to happen. You're either going to ascend. God is going to bring you straight home. You made it. You found salvation. You didn't even get punished. You repented. You loved Him. You turned your life over to Him. You worshiped Him. You called on Him. You humbly submitted to Him everything that you are. You put it all out there for Him. He brings you home. He gives you salvation. Then there's those that are going to lay in purgatory that are left here. Their souls leave their body. They ascend to the firmament of God, and bam, they hit the wall. And then they come back down to this plane of existence here, and then they're left in purgatory as souls. And their soul, their body, their flesh is their resting place. Their grave is their resting place. All right? And then these ghosts, these dead people that are here, haven't been raised. And now what's going to happen is the rapture. God's going to separate the wheats from the tares, okay? And then He's going to raise. Now, the Bible says that the Christian rapture is that the Christians are going to be raised and saved. But the way I see it with the planet destroyer, Wormwood, Nibiru, Planet X, that it destroys sin. I believe that it magnetically sucks up all the sin that's on this plane of existence, as it's written in the book of Enoch. Okay, so lightning is electricity. El, electricity. I don't worship El or Elohim or anything. You know why? Because it's too close to the word hello. It's too close to the word hell. Okay? It's all about El and Bel and Baal. It's all worship of other gods. It plainly tells us that plural, that gods are many gods. You have one creator telling you he's going to destroy all the other gods underneath the heaven. And then you got one God that's telling you he's going to save everybody underneath the heaven. I think that I'd fear more the creator, the one that's saying, hey, don't listen to mankind, all right? You find your discernment from him. Christians love to say, don't lean on your own understanding. Don't lean on your own understanding. They want you to lean on their understanding. They want you to lean on their scriptural texture of the words that they teach, and their texture is nasty. Okay, it's wrong. Number one, it's incomplete. I keep telling people over and over, look, you can't talk to me about the scriptures if you don't read the Bible. You can't tell me a thing about what the Bible is saying if you don't read the scriptures yourself. If you don't read the scriptures yourself, you're insane to send me somebody else's dialogue, somebody else's theology. Since I've been reading the Bible now, and I see that there's conflict in the Bible. When I say conflict, I mean contradictions. I mean lies. I mean changes. And the word was never meant to be changed. But at the same time, if predestination existed, then it would mean that the Bible was meant to be changed. And if the Bible was meant to be changed, then why? What was the purpose of the Bible to be changed? It would have been changed because God wants you to show yourself approved by reading the Bible yourself. By reading the Bible yourself and listening to what Christians are saying to you, it allows you to see that their doctrine is messed up. Okay? Their doctrine added into the Bible is opposite of a lot of other things that are taking place. Okay? Okay, there was thunder and lightning with a thick cloud over the mountain, and a very loud trumpet blast. Everyone in the camp trembled. Then Moses led the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain, Mount Sinai. So now a nation of people, okay, have everybody stood to meet God. Really? Everybody got to meet God? The Bible plainly tells us, folks, that you can't see God's face. So, if my boss told me he wanted me to meet one of his friends, I could understand that. But how can all the people of the camp go and meet God when God is spirit and cannot be seen? Questionable. I love the book of Exodus because it really starts to expose a lot of fallacies in the book. You can tell where the infiltration is taking place inside of the Bible. Okay? So you can't meet God because later God is going to tell you in 33:19-21 that nobody can see my face and live. Okay? No one can see God's face and live. So Moses, there's something behind the scenes here that Moses is addressing as a Lord that is above Moses. Yeah, it's crazy stuff when you start thinking spiritually and you remove the carnal flesh thoughts. It's a different walk, folks. To meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered in smoke because the Lord descended on it in a fire. The smoke billowed up like smoke from a furnace, and the whole mountain trembled violently. As the sound of the trumpets grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. The Lord ascended to the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses went up, and the Lord said to him, go down and warn the people. Okay, so the Lord calls Moses up, and then he tells him to go down. So now we got an up and down, a back and forth, and in and out, up and down. If it was spirit and he was talking to Moses in spirit form, he wouldn't have had to go up to the mountain to talk to the Lord, to go back down to the mountain with instructions from the Lord. So, who is this Lord that Moses has went up to talk? Now we know it said that he's in a cloud. He's in a billowing cloud, like the burning bush. Okay? But I'm pretty sure that it's something spiritual in a body that's talking to Moses. It's not the spirit. Okay? You can't see the spirit. Put that inside of your mind. God is not man. Jesus is man. God says that you can't see him or you're dead. So if you're looking at Jesus as God, it's telling you that you are the dead. It's you. You're dead because you can't see God's face and live. Okay, and the Lord said to him, go down and warn the people so that they don't force their way through to see the Lord. And many of them will perish. Even the priests who approach the Lord must consecrate themselves, or the Lord will break out against them. Moses said to the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai because you yourselves warned us. Put limits around the mountain and set it apart as holy. The Lord replied, go down and bring Aaron up with you. Bring Aaron up with them, So Moses went down to the people and told them. So Moses was given instructions from somebody. Okay? And the people went to meet God. The people went to meet God. How are they meeting, folks? Who is it they're meeting? I love the Creator so much. There's nothing that means more to me than to be back with His Spirit on my soul and in His kingdom, worshiping Him alone with every cell, every fiber that comprises me of flesh. Humbly before Him with each ounce of blood that pumps through my veins. I submit to Him. Let's bow our heads and go out. Our Creator, the Supreme, Almighty Spirit which moves all things in place, there is none like you. You are my Master. I humbly submit before you. May you place your Spirit upon anybody here today, right now, that has heard this message, or is calling out to you in the same fashion that I called out to you, with a humble heart, broken, and without any ego. Please let them turn back to you. May your Spirit be upon them, so that they may know discernment. I beg you, from the bottom of my heart to the top of my mind, please save me from this evil place. Save me from the fire. Save those that call out on you and worship you and have a humble heart. I ask all these things in your almighty power, the very source that moves all things in place, Master of all heaven, earth, and those that dwell. Please save us on this very day. of judgment. I ask all these things only in you, the Spirit. All praise, all glory to the Creator. This is White Raptor News Ministries.